Hey everybody, Adam here. So here's the fast version of the adductor inner outer thigh leg workout. So you get a little bit of core in here too. So quickly, a couple warm-up suggestions. Work on opening up your hips. You can do a couple of these, right? Switch legs, work on your hamstrings, quads. I'm going to jump right into it. You can look at the longer video if you want more of an explanation. I'm just going to go through the move sequence for you. So grab your towel, fold it up. Put it between your knees. So we're going to come down. 3, 4, up, 2. Kick the butt out. 1, 2. You can put your hands out like this if you want to counterbalance. Okay? You're going to do that for 1 minute. So let's go on our second move. We have bowler lunges here. So I'm going to just demonstrate on this leg. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring your foot out and behind. Alright? So this is the first version. So you come down. 3, 4, up, about 3/4 of the way. Kick the hip out, okay? Drive the hip to the wall, and then drive it in toward that wall. So out, away from you, and then bring it in, all right? More advanced, out, away, and step. Out, and step. Use your arms. Really helps to keep your balance, to make sure you're driving in the right direction. Don't stand narrow. You don't have to come back far, just step out, okay? Next move are called draggers. 3 ways of doing these. One isn't really dragging, so I'm going to start with the no equipment version. So just using my feet. The more weight you put on the leg that you're dragging, the more effective this is going to be. If you're on a carpet or something, make sure you use socks or shoes if they work. Okay, so you're going to step out into a nice lunge, nice and deep, and you're going to drag that foot across. Out and drag. Turn around. And drag. And drag. Rinse and repeat. You can go drag, drag. You can go like a box or a circle, whatever works for you. So, the second way is to just do the same thing. I have a couple weights in this bag, so I can take it. Push it over nice and far. So I'm going to also drag, but I'm going to have extra weight attached. Make it a little bit more fun. And drag. And drag. Turn around and repeat back and forth. 30 seconds per side. You can add time onto it if you feel like you want a little more. You just don't have enough resistance. So the third way of doing this move would be a cable crossover with a resistance band. So if you have one that has enough room in the handles, you can squeeze your foot in. That works. This band's really heavy, so I can't cross over. So the normal motion would look like this. I would be standing here, foot would be out to the side, I'd cross over, hold, and come back. Cross, and come back. And hold on to something. Remember, balance is not important here. What's important is range of motion, and making sure you have a squeeze when you come across. You can even do this without weight, and just squeeze when you come across, out, squeeze, and out. Squeeze both thighs. Now if you have the resistance band, you have a really heavy one like this, hold on to something, you're going to bring it in, 2, 3, 4, out. In, 3, 4, out. If you feel like your knee's squeaking a little bit, you can bend it, that's okay. You're still going to be working the same muscle group, alright? You just might be taking a little bit of stress off that knee. Alright, so that does it for draggers. Next, we're going to go into a little bit of cardio. So your speed on this is going to depend on your control. Control is more important as is range of motion. We want to go cover as much space as possible. So as much distance as you covered in 2 of those lunges on the draggers, I want to see you covering here. The more distance, more lateral distance you cover, the more the outside of your leg is going to have to stop you and cushion that momentum, okay? So, here we go. I'm going to leap over to this side and use my arms. So I'm down on my left leg, I explode onto my right, back to my left, onto my right, okay? If the balance is a little tricky for you, when jumping really far it might be, you can do this. Out, tap. Out, tap, out. If you don't have to tap, you're better off not. It gives you more stability. It's going to work the outside a little bit more. Now, if that becomes really easy, come here, back and forth, back and forth. Focus on the explosion. You're going to feel it in the outside of those thighs. If you can't cover that much ground, this is fine. It'll still work those muscles. It just won't be as much of an explosive and therefore as much of a deep muscle burn and emphasis on what we're trying to work here, okay? The more shallow you get, the more you're going to work the most standard groups on your legs to focus on, which would be your quads, hamstrings, right? So, let's get on to the floor exercises now. We have 2 more left, and then we go into our burnout. So this one's an incline or decline hip raise. So instead of driving up with our obliques, we're going to be driving up with the inner thigh, okay? So, here's the incline version. Foot's out. No, this is what you want to try to get to. If you can't do this, I'll show you how to modify. So, come up, down, and up, down. You can come all the way down, then drive up, down, and drive up. Push in on that inner thigh, okay? If you can't do that, you can leave a foot down in the back. Just still make sure you're driving up. You can use this leg as an assistance if you want. You can even cross your feet over, wherever's comfortable for you. Just make sure it's challenging. Okay, here's the really advanced version, or more effective, I should say. So, put your foot up on a bench, chair, table, something. If it's a table, you might want to put a towel down. You know, keep things clean. I like to bend my knee slightly here. It feels better. I feel like a straight leg. I feel too much torque on the inside of my leg. I don't like that. So, come up, that side. You can have your hips down to start. Now focus on pushing the leg across. Push the leg down, forget about driving up. So push down, and come back down slow. And up, and slow, and up, and slow. You want to keep this leg as the gauge of how high you're going, okay? So you can keep it down at the bottom, and then up. Bring the knees together, and down, and bring them up, and together, okay? And repeat that for about 30 seconds per side. That's a killer. That's awesome. If you can handle that, great. All right, so next one, I'll just stay on the same side. Elbow. We got a few ways to do this. This is level 1. Hand on your hip. Bring that foot up. Try to drive your heel to the sky, not this. We don't want to do that. That's going to work more hip flexor. I'm going to drive your heel up, which means try to point those toes down a little bit. So, up, and up. Don't touch. See how I'm not touching my feet? I'm not doing this. That totally disengages what we're working. I'm going to keep that going. Down, up, and down. If you want to put a little extra body weight resistance, drop the arm here, push, and down. You can control. It's like putting a weight on this, tying something to the ground and feel like you're pulling against it. Push, push, push. Create your own resistance. It's a really effective way of intensifying or increasing the challenge. It also gives you a free little back, chest, arm workout there. You know, pushing it down if you use a little core. So, version 2, if you want to work this leg at the same time, also stabilize with your core, increase the challenge, bump up the calorie burn, get a good sweat going. Come up, side plank, hand down, hand on the hip, hand up if you want. You can look up. So, make sure the hips stay forward, none of this, nice and forward, pick up, and down, up, and down. Now if you get tired, you can drop down to level 1, and down. And when you're ready, come back up into it. The beauty about level 2 is you're also working all of this. Just trying to keep yourself stabilized in that side plank. Alright? Here we go. Let's get to our burnout. So now, if you've reached this point, and you say, well, hey, I've got a lot of extra time, I'd like to do more, then by all means, start this thing over, go back to the first move, repeat all 6 again. Just do the burnout once. The burnout is the burnout, right? It's the end So I really recommend using it as the finisher, okay? So this one, I call it a sweeper. So what you want to do is you're going to get into a high plank. I'm going to show you from a couple of angles. I'll show you head on, I'll show you from the side, then I'll show you from the back. So I'm going to demonstrate with my right leg. So come up into plank. Knee comes down to 90 degrees. I'm going to come out, try to turn that foot up and out. Think of a fire hydrant in the dog, right? Come across. Now what you want to do is when you come across, to prevent this, try to think of like pushing your shoulder, left shoulder to the floor. So when my right leg is crossing under like this, I'm driving down. So if you can see, I keep it. You're also going to get a nice squeeze in your obliques there when you come across. So let me show you from the side. Now I'm going to show you something I don't want you to do. So I'm up in plank, knees here. Don't come here. This is great. I don't want you to go fast, nor do I want you to bring your knee up that far, because that's going to work hip flexors, and we're working on the legs here. So, up, knees 90, or even back a little further if you want. And here, 90, crosses nicely. Out, and down. 2, out, 2, down, 2. This is a great pace. 2, down, 2, up, 2, down, 2. If you still find you're twisting your body, you can try looking in the opposite direction. So that would look like out and out. Find that helps. It's a pretty good strategy to make sure you're leaning toward the direction you're looking instead of leaning into the exercise. So from behind, just so you can see the leg movement a little bit clearer. So out, 2, down, 2, out, 2, down, and 2. Repeat over and over again. When you come across and when you come to the outside, squeeze as high as you can. The higher you go, the more it's going to burn. And this is a burnout, okay? So I would do that 30 seconds, maybe even a minute per side. Remember, you want to just deplete whatever you have left. If you need a tiny, tiny, tiny pause in between the sides, that's okay, because I know you're holding plank for a really long time. But there you go. There you have it. So when you finish, stretch your quads, do some lunge, some side lunges, stretch the inner thigh, definitely. Stretch your hips. I'll show you a really quick sequence that I showed in the other video. Hold this for a 10 count in each move. So you're going to hold 10. This is move 1. It's just a regular old hurdler stretch. Move 2, ankle behind knee. Move 3, foot flat on the ground. Scoot your butt close to your heel, as close as you can. Ooh, and try to really push yourself into it. It's working right there. Move 4, drop the foot down. Opposite arm of the leg is here, so my left arm up into the air when my right leg is up. Cross behind and twist. 10 count. Then repeat on the other side. So, stretch your hamstrings, stretch your quads, stretch your inner and outer thighs, stretch your back, and you can even loosen up those shoulders a little bit with some shakers. So, there you have it. There's some abductor and adductor work for you. So hopefully that helps you address these muscles. And I know a lot of you have some difficulty with in terms of strengthening and stabilization, and you feel like it's just kind of holding you back in the rest of your leg development. And well, hopefully this helps. So drop a comment below, let me know how you like it. Stay tuned for votes for next week, so you get a say in what I shoot, and hopefully I can continue to keep helping you get to where you want to go. So I hope you have a wonderful day and make it the best one yet, and I will see you next week.